Hello everyone, and welcome to this review of the Akai MPK249. This is the big brother to the MPK Mini Mark II that we had here in studio a couple of months ago. Really excited to have this here today, and I want to run you through some of the great features of this keypad. As you'll remember from our review of the MPK Mini Mark II, we're definitely really pleased with the level of functionality that they packed into a very small and cost-effective package, but definitely found the pads to be a little bit lacking in terms of being able to really knock out some killer drums. That's definitely not the case here. We've got a full set of 16 MPC style pads. Again, these are not the same as the one on the MPC Renaissance or any of the classic models. But I'd tell you, in terms of sensitivity and responsiveness, they definitely can hold their own. In addition to just the base pads, you've got 4 banks that you can choose from, full 16 level, full level and 16 level settings for those, depending on how you like to knock out your drums or triggers. In addition, you've got the classic MPC swing, you've got note repeat settings, and so really a full-fledged package there. Even better is they're fully customizable in terms of color as well as sensitivity. So if you like to bang on them or you like them a little bit more sensitive, it's up to you. They're all customizable through the very robust editing console that's built into to the 249. Beyond that, you've got a nice 49 key keypad, very nice and firm, but definitely not too hard to play. No problem getting the full velocity range and getting the sensitivity just right to the way that you like it. And just playing with this for a weekend, it's definitely not broken in by any stretch, but don't have any early concerns about the durability of this keypad. I think you could throw some serious damage at it. Not that we will be here, but it's definitely on par, if not better than other keypads in its range from what we've played with. 8 sets of faders and dial knobs. The faders themselves have a really nice set of resistance to them. We'll see how they hold up over time, but given that we're not going to be sliding these up and down all day like I am on my DJ stuff, I think they'll be just great in terms of adjusting levels and other tweaks. The knobs themselves, same really good level of resistance to them. Not going to have a problem about overshooting your target in terms of trying to get the settings that you want just right. And pitch and mod wheels, same. Mod wheel has a really nice level of resistance to it. Pitch wheel itself as well. Nice snapback, but not so fast that you can't get some really good playing style out of it. The transport buttons feel like they're pulled right off an MPC. They got that same nice little click noise to them. Actually, all the buttons have that same kind of MPC clickiness to them. Out of the box, the device comes with presets for kind of the DAW of your choice. The Akai comes with the MPC Essential software. I'll get into that in a little bit. Settings for Ableton were close. I had to do a little bit of tweaking in terms of mapping the drums in Simpler that I had set up previously. And it also comes with presets for some of the more popular VSTs as well. So you're always going to find something here that's you're going to want to tweak a little bit depending on your playing style and what you use frequently, but nice little touch on the Logic. They actually color the drums in the way that they typically come set up in the Logic packs, which was just a nice little attention to detail. So the pads themselves, this is really what we're here for, right? And you can already tell off the bat, I'm pretty happy with them, but just to give you a sense, we can get some really nice dynamic range on all of these pads now. I don't feel like I have to, before on the Mini Mark II, if I just kind of gave you this little kind of glancing touch on each of the pads, you would have just heard a mess of drums. They've definitely been dialed down a bit. And I'm sure you can tweak those again if you'd like them that way. But for me, this is definitely a little bit more of a nicer setup. And so I feel totally confident in being able to bang out any sort of drum patterns or any sort of sampling work that I need to do on this thing. And just very easy. And again, the thing that I hated about the Mini, which is like I couldn't do rolls on it, that's just not the problem. I mean, these things are super responsive, and I'm just really happy with these. And so I've been sitting here banging out drums for 2 days now, and I don't see that stopping anytime soon. So just definitely really killer set of pads. In addition, you've got your repeat. So set your note repeat, click your time division, and depending on what tempo you have, you can set them for 16ths, 30 seconds, 30-second triplets, everything you'd find on a regular MPC. One thing to note, and this is a little bit of a gripe, the tap tempo is blinking now because I have it on the internal clock in the 249. If I send it an external clock, it does not trigger that tap tempo light, which is a little bit of a bummer because I'd love to see what it was sending out. Also note, depending on your DAW, you're not going to get a tempo sent out to this. So if you don't have record or play on in kind of the default settings in Logic, you're not going to be able to get note repeat or the arpeggiator to work right. So just be a little bit careful as you're playing through that, and you'll learn from my early learning curve. The other thing to learn, and this is another one that was a big bummer after I'd done a bunch of work, is make sure you save any changes you make to your edits. They don't save automatically, and so if you go from one preset to another and you want to change where the notes are, note values are for the pads per se, make sure that you save all those settings before you go out. I did a bunch of work in Ableton, spent probably 20, 30 minutes getting it the way I liked, and forgot to save the preset. And so I had to do that again. So hopefully I can save somebody out there 20 minutes of their time from having to do that again. Not the end of the world, but certainly something that I wish you could control. One of the ways that you could have mitigated that is if this was presets and all the settings for this were easily accessible from the computer. As far as I'm aware, there's not a software package that Akai sends out that lets you do this like you can on the minis, or even the LPD pads where all the settings were being pushed from the for the computer. It would be great to see that down the line, but more than enough functionality, and the workflow is pretty easy on the screen here. So again, I'm picking it picking at really kind of small things here. So let's get into the keypad itself. I just got a kind of default Wurlitzer here. I really love the way that these keys feel. I can certainly get the full 127 out of these if I hit them, but if I don't, some really nice variants. And again, Logic's got some great instrument modeling, which helps us sound a lot better than this guy's banging on the keys. The arpeggiator works great. You can do the latch. All the arpeggiator settings can be changed through the edit. Click edit, click arpeggiator, and if you want a random, you want to go somewhere else, you can go to randouble. Notice the way that the editing works, though, is as soon as you change what you press, the edits change. Again, I wish it would be an easier way to manage that, but you just got to do a little bit of a finger dance here if you're going to be changing that on the fly. I don't think most of you will be. Another thing about the edit, if it blinked when it was on, that would be super helpful, so I wouldn't forget. Because right now, I was in the arpeggiator, then I was changing it, and I clicked another button, now it shows up. I would rather it just at least, hey, idiot, you left the edit on instead of just going back to your preset. Again, not the end of the world, but a nice little UX thing, maybe in a firmware update they could apply. So that's kind of the long and short of the keyboard, the pads themselves, and the device itself. As I said, I'm pretty happy with it, and all the wheels are great. I mean, bar none, one of the best purchases I've made in terms of a nice portable workstation. One thing to note on the software side of things is if you're using MPC Essentials, like I was when I first got it, I was really excited to get in there and chop up samples like I'm used to on an MPC. And even though it's the same software that you'd use for the Renaissance, and you can see all the same options, you're going to be limited to hardware mapping that is equivalent to whatever your device is. This is not really well documented, and anything I could find, there was a couple of support forums that highlighted it. But basically it means that you'll have the ability to do your full level 16s, your note repeats, swing, all that kind of stuff that's built into the surface itself. But if you want to use kind of the Q knobs, you can't just assign 8 of these to 8 of the 16 that are in the software itself, and you can't use the pads themselves to work on things like editing samples or chopping samples up. You can do it with your mouse, but it's not as obviously intuitive if you're used to the MPC workflow. And it's a bummer because you can see it, it's there, and it's just nerfed software for the sake of preserving, why you would buy an MPC Renaissance, which is still a very good value if you're spending all day with it. But I was hoping that I could get the full utility out of this. So not that I was expecting it, but once you see it there, you hope, and then when you don't get it, it's a little bit of a bummer. But that's it in a nutshell. Feel free to put any notes in the comments if I can answer any other questions for it. But all told, I think this thing's a great value for somebody that's starting out and and really is debating whether or not to go for a 25 key or a 49 key. I think a 49 key layout like this, which gives you kind of a little bit of everything is probably just about as perfect as you could have. You know, if you're going to be on a plane and want to get some stuff done, stick with the Mini. But in a live situation, in a small home studio, I think this thing's a great buy. So thanks again for watching, and we'll talk soon.